Coming up on the This Week in Cougar Baseball Podcast.
It was a team win. Once it got tied up, and we had to do something offensively, and we did. And that's what good teams do, is on a given day, whatever it takes to find a way to win, that's the area of the game that steps up. The fight and the toughness, you can't deny that. Like, our guys, we got some toughness to them.
Our team is all on the same page. We all want to win. You know, we're all a brotherhood, and we want to pick each other up, and we're all working towards the same thing. And I think when that happens, it's really easy to continue to stay consistent.
Alongside the head coach of the Cougars, Nathan Choate, here's Trevor Williams.
Washington State coming back to the Palouse off a couple wins against Long Beach State to close last weekend. Cougars split the weekend, fell in a couple close ones to BYU in the first two games of the week, and then came back with those two big victories against Long Beach State, including the come-from-behind win on Sunday. Coach, to start off, just how are things feeling coming off that third week of the season?
Yeah, it was a long road trip. We were on the road for 8 games, a lot of games in a shorter period of time, and so there was good. There's some things that we need to improve on, but I'm very proud of the toughness and the competitiveness of the group.
Let's just go chronologically through the weekend for you guys, and starting with that first game against BYU. You guys came into that game and got a tremendous start from Luke Myers. Just talk to me about the start of that game, what you got from him on the mound.
Yeah, he threw the ball really well with changing speeds, in, out, up, down. Did a really good job pitching in. I think he went 7 and gave up 1. The only real mistake, there was a little squibber back to him that we probably should have just gone to first, and we threw it into center field. But as far as throwing the ball, I thought he threw the ball really well, pitched with tempo, pitched really well.
Crushing part of that game, obviously, was a 4-1 lead going into the late innings. BYU was able to get within 1 going to the 9th, and then baseball, you guys are a strike away and a pinch hit 3-run home run for them to take the lead that ultimately leads to a BYU 6-4 win. What stood out to you at the end of that game?
Just the pain. The players, there was a lot of pain. They knew we played really well. August, I know, was beating himself up pretty good. We had 2 outs. We hit a guy, we walk a guy. We're not trying to do that. And then we fall behind in the count. Pinch hitter, we throw him a fastball, hits it out of the ballpark. And, good job by him capitalizing on his moment. I think people forget they're trying too on the other side, right? Like, everyone always wants to blame, like, hey, the bullpen or this or that, we're not trying to do that, right? We're dealing with human beings. We're still learning how to win. I thought our process was good. I thought we played good baseball. Unfortunately, they got a swing at the right time, and tip your cap, they beat us, but was really pleased with our effort. And like I said, when you talk about process, win, lose, or draw, if you really are focused on the process, you can't just be a hypocrite. When you win, say, hey, it was great. When you lose, say it was terrible. Yes, obviously we want to win. That's why we play. It's super competitive. But at the same time, it's how we respond to those moments that are going to define us as a group.
That's something that I put out there online after the series this weekend, was just saying that I feel like when you have a good process, what shows is like what's happened the last couple of weeks, where it's like maybe it doesn't go your way night 1, night 2, but even in game 2, which we're going to talk about in a second, you guys fight out of a hole to tie that game late. Then you look at obviously the big win against Long Beach State on Friday before the off day into your final game of the series, and you guys come from behind and win that one. It just seems like when there's a good process, that's what allows for a little bit of adversity to not hold you down the rest of the way.
Well, it should allow you to get present to whatever you're doing in the current moment. And regardless of how painful the moment was just before, those are 2 pretty painful losses.
Yeah.
We're an out away from winning on Thursday. We get walked off on in the morning game of the doubleheader, and we're exhausted. Our guys are exhausted. I know they are. And to find a way to dig deep and show some toughness and win that night game of that doubleheader. The thing people need to realize is the way that the schedule was set up, Long Beach was throwing their Friday guy, right? They played a midweek game on a Wednesday, so they were throwing their Friday game. They had Friday guy. They had Thursday off. We played Thursday. We played a morning game on Friday. So really, we're essentially throwing our 3rd or 4th starter against their Friday guy, and they're a little bit more rested than we are. we have every excuse to not compete if we want to focus it like that, especially the way that we lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty defining moment in how we competed and finding a way to win. I was super proud of us for that win on Friday night.
Coming up in our discussion this week, we're going to talk to Mason Pirello, and he was a part of getting you guys back into that second game of the weekend against BYU. That was a 5-4 loss. You guys were down 4-2 going into the 8th. Mason comes through, delivers a big 2 RBI single into left field to tie that game. More of a trend we're seeing this year. You guys are fighting back well at the ends of these games, and it's been a lot of close ones for the Cougs so far.
Yeah, Mason got a swing right there, got us back in it. Really trying to take it a pitch at a time, and that should be independent of the score. And if you do that and just take it a pitch at a time and try to win pitches, you should continue to fight, scratch, and claw regardless of the situation. And even in the ninth, I thought they, we're in no doubles, so we're taking away the line, and they hit a ball in the 4-hole, which we should be playing no doubles with 2 outs right there. And then we're playing no doubles on the left side, and they hit a line drive over our third baseman's head. They got to the wall, and they score. And so, that's baseball. But I think just staying focused on the process of not trying to do too much, not looking at the score, just winning pitches and segmenting things, I think it makes the task a little bit more obtainable just to win each individual pitch.
In terms of pitchers in that game, tell me what you thought about Nick Lewis and his start, and then also want to hear about Caden Wickersham. It's the game that we saw him during the weekend.
Yeah. Nick gave us another quality start and went out there and threw well. I think probably the pitch that he would like back is not even the home run, but there was a 4-pitch walk before the ball got hit out. And so, he walked more guys than he would like and than we expect him to do. And then Caden came in and, he's still coming back from injury from last year. And so being pretty conservative on how we use him, but I think he's doing a good job when an opportunity presents itself and he's on schedule to throw. So, good job by both those guys. I was pleased with the pitching, and the competitiveness. We just got to limit some of those free passes. And, some of those guys that are coming back from injury or they're talented. There's no question they're talented, but they're getting real game experience. And so expect us to be a better group by the end of the season than we are right now. And I'm happy with the compete right now on the mound.
As you mentioned, you guys got left on the field in that first game of the doubleheader in the 5-4 loss to BYU. And then you come back and play Long Beach State that night, and a really resounding win for your team. Hit the gas pedal at the end to put some separation in it, end up winning 10-4. Let's talk about that performance for your team. Gavin Durr goes 2 2/3 innings at the start, and then your bullpen has a really nice night behind him.
Yeah, I thought Gavin went out and gave us a solid start. He kind of lost it a little bit there at the end and got him out. But remember, he threw on Monday too, so he threw about 50-something pitches 53 pitches on Monday, and then came back on Friday and 3 days rest. And so we did not plan on him going that long anyway, and so he gave us what we thought we were going to get, and then the bullpen did a good job coming in and attacking the strike zone. I thought our at-bats Monday or Friday night were really good. I thought we were just grinding out at-bats, fouling off pitches, creating some free passes. I think they had 11 free passes, but a lot of those were at-bats that I thought our guys worked the at-bat, fouled a pitch off, took a ball in the outer half, took a ball in, and just kept fouling off pitches. And so, yeah, we didn't maybe get as many hits as we did by just kind of working at-bats.
And you mentioned grinding it out against some of the better pitchers on Long Beach's state roster.
Yeah, that's, not chasing out of the zone. Having strike zone discipline, I think, is really important. And then holding our ground and taking a hit by pitch. And we're not leaning into pitches by any stretch, but holding our ground to try to get guys out of the stretch and create some pressure on them.
Another youngster that we saw deliver for you guys, Trevor Smith, that we've obviously talked to in previous episodes already this year, but combine him with a guy we're going to talk to shortly, Mason Pirello, and some of these other young players who are already making an impact for your team. It seems like this incoming class is really impressive, and from how I'm reading it, with how you're looking at them, I think you've been pretty pleased with the way that they've started off the year.
Yeah, it's a good group. They fit in really well with the older guys. I think they've assimilated really well. the biggest thing is they just want to win. The group wants to win. And when you want to win, you can focus on a common goal and everybody can work towards that. And no one really cares who gets the credit on a given day. If winning is at the forefront of your mind, and if winning is at the forefront of your mind, you do what it takes to win. That means sometimes you got to push, sometimes you got to drag, sometimes you got to take a walk. Sometimes you get pitch hit for, and sometimes you go in late defensively. And so if truly winning is your goal, then you're going to keep winning the main thing. And I think that's what the freshmen have done. They're not trying to do too much or walk around and get a big head, which is easy to do as a freshman. I think they like being part of the group and doing their job.
Where I was really impressed on the weekend is when we talk about Game 4. You guys win 9-7 over Long Beach State. In the fifth inning, you guys put a crooked number up. You go up 6-2. Long Beach State answers, and then you guys answer right back in the sixth. And it's kind of like, okay, deep breath. It's 7-3. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, Long Beach State, boom, they hit 4 runs over the next 2 innings. Game is tied. You guys still stay within yourselves, come back to take the lead on the big hit from Ryan Shawnsby in the 8th. I thought that was just a perfect illustration of, okay, not freaking out under pressure, following the process, and it ending in a winning result for you guys.
Yeah, and that's why you can't just look at box scores and make assumptions on how the game went. When you're playing someone in competitive athletics, they are trying too. And so versus Griffin in the 5th, when we walked a few guys, they were fouling off pitches. They were taking pitches that could go either way. Mm-hmm. They did a good job grinding out at bats and not just rolling over. They had some fight in them. And so they earned some walks, kind of what we did on Friday. Because if you look at Griff's numbers over the years, he doesn't walk a ton of guys. And I didn't think he was out of control. They were small misses and they did a good job fighting off some pitches. And so I thought it was more of like a boxing match than it was like us melting. I didn't think by any stretch that anybody in our dugout didn't think we were going to win. It was more like, hey, we threw some haymakers. They threw some haymakers. We punched and then they punched back. And we just kept punching. And I don't know in the past if we necessarily would have been able to find a way to do that. We had some defensive, plays that we need to make, and we typically make in those 2 where we had to get 5 outs an inning, which, there's even more pressure, and you put that in combination. But I think part of it was Long Beach was scrapping too, right? And they weren't just rolling over. And so, I think in competitive athletics, people forget that both teams are trying to win. That is the ultimate goal. It's not like one team's just letting off the gas thinking they got it done. No, it's okay to give the opponent credit for competing and fighting too. Yeah. The same emotions that we have in our dugout, they have in theirs, whoever we're playing.
Well, it's really the beautiful thing about baseball is you fall in a hole, you're not constrained to a clock. I mean, there's nothing that's just going to tick the game away. And I mean, if you start, like you're saying, grinding out at bats, fouling off pitches, go station to station, comebacks are unbelievably possible in baseball.
It was a team win, and that's the thing. Like, our at bats hadn't been as good earlier in the week. We had been throwing better and playing better defense. In this game, once it got tied up, and we had to do something offensively, and we did. And that's what good teams do: is on a given day, whatever it takes to find a way to win. That's the area of the game that steps up. Now, as the coach, you're always happy you win, but do we need to be better in those situations? Absolutely. That's the process that we're talking about. But the fight and the toughness, you can't deny that. Like, our guys, we got some toughness to them.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of what illustrated that is you talked about August kind of beating himself a little bit up earlier in the weekend, and then for him to come back and shut the door there in the final game of the series, that shows a really mature response.
August Ritchie is a very, very good pitcher. He threw 2 innings at Virginia last year, right? He was behind a couple guys. He has not thrown that many Division I innings, so he's still learning on the fly, if you will. Did not have the outing that he wanted against BYU. But now all of a sudden, once Ryan got that swing and August came in the game and started filling up the strike zone, you could tell it was over. Like, it was at that point, he was like, okay, I'm going to continue to attack. He was staying over the rubber. He wasn't rushing like he was in the BYU game. That's experience. And so great bounce back by him. He's a huge part of this. For us to go where we want to go, we're going to need him to be good, and he is good. Great response, right? So Ryan
Shawnsby had the big hit there to put you guys up at the end, and I immediately thought back to the conversation with Dustin Robinson last week, and he said something that he noticed was that Ryan's a different guy than he knew prior to his time at Washington State when they played together in terms of the emotion, what he shows after those moments. And he was so emotional after that go-ahead hit, really firing the guys up. Where have you seen that growth and that fire in him change?
I think it's just probably his enjoyment in the game. I think what you're seeing is just his joy pouring out because it's not directed at the other team. It's not directed at the pitchers. It's literally directed at his teammates. And I think that's just the joy that he's having playing the game pouring over, because it wasn't a hit and then pound my chest and all about me. It was like as soon as it happened, where did he look? He looked at his teammates. Mm-hmm. It was pretty cool. Before the game, his numbers aren't what they will be, right? But I think he's been in a really good place offensively. And so before the game, during BP, he was walking by. I go, hey, how do you feel offensively? How's your swing feel? He goes, I feel like I'm in a good place. I said, I think you're in a good place too, man. Like, just stay on it. Eventually, those balls are going to fall. And obviously that one was a big swing right there. But yeah, the emotion thing, I think when you can celebrate with your teammates and it's not about you, it's about the team and the group, I think that's what you're seeing is it's not Ryan Shawnsby celebrating Ryan Shawnsby. It's Ryan celebrating being a part of a team that he likes playing with and sharing in the moment with his teammates, which, it's pretty cool.
Last thing I wanted to ask you about pertaining to that situation in that game, you called an offensive timeout before the 2 RBI hit. As much as you're able to, and what I know is a private moment, what was that discussion like for you and Ryan before he goes out there and delivers?
Yeah, that one's private.
Okay,
I'm keeping
that's
that between me and Ryan, and maybe one day he'll share that with you. But yeah, that one I'm going to keep to myself.
Okay. I could see the smile on your face. It seemed like a little bit of a lighter moment for him to allow him to, kind of go there and do his thing. And
kudos for you for picking up on our conversation, because you're the only person that's asked me about that conversation. But yeah, I'm going to keep that one between me and Ryan.
I've got no problem with that at all. Like I said, I know they're private moments, but I had to ask just to see. We're going to talk next to Mason Pirello. Obviously delivered in that game big time as well. 3-hit performance for him. Just, what sticks out to you as we're about to chat with him and the start of his Cougar career?
His poise and his ability to hit. I mean, you could see it. He's got great bat speed, great bat-to-ball skills. You saw it against Alabama with some guys with some plus stuff. You can't get a fastball by him. In the fall, I forget who was throwing, and it was one of our guys that was throwing pretty firm, and I was over in the first base dugout at the time, and he saw a ball really, really deep, and he shot it over a foul and almost hit me right in the head. And he saw it so deep and was able to start his swing so late because of his bat speed. I was like, whoa, okay, this is kind of dangerous over here. But, seeing him getting the swings against Alabama and the stuff, it's elite bat speed. I think that's the thing, and he's just got a knack for hitting.
Joining us now on the podcast, we have freshman outfielder Mason Pirello. And Mason, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the podcast. How are things going for you?
Good. Thank you for having me out. Pretty good. Just spending a little bit of time back in Pullman. Time we got.
Yeah.
We're hitting the road again, so I'm excited.
Tell me about this last weekend specifically, just to start things off. You guys came back with a couple big wins at the end of the weekend against Long Beach State. What stuck out to you about this last weekend of play?
I think just as a team, we just fought really hard, and we just stacked a bunch of good days together. And a couple of games we didn't get the result we wanted, but we still stuck to the process and did a good job of that.
What is it about this team? Do you feel like you guys have already had some big come from behind victories? You've had some bounce backs on weekends where maybe it hasn't started the way you guys have wanted, and then you've come back to have success at the end of the weekend. In your mind, why are you guys having success in that aspect of the game right now and coming back from adversity?
Yeah, I think it's just our team is all on the same page. We all want to win. We're all a brotherhood, and we want to pick each other up, and we're all working towards the same thing. And I think when that happens, it's really easy to continue to stay consistent.
In terms of a couple of those games this last weekend, couple 3-hit games for you against Long Beach State and BYU. What are you feeling like at the plate right now as you kind of settle into the early part of this year?
I'm just trying not to do a whole lot, trying to just reduce the amount of thoughts I have to just basically almost none if I can do that. And just, just letting myself do my thing, doing what I do and sticking to my process.
Coach, I know we've talked about Mason and his ability to swing the bat, and something that really stuck out to you guys early in the process of bringing him to Washington State. What's been standing out to you about his performances so far this year?
Yeah, he can hit. There's no question. When we recruited him, he's the first high school player that we recruited when we got the job. He came to a prospect camp, was playing in the middle infield. We thought maybe he's probably not a middle infielder, playing the outfield, but there was no question that he could hit. And so saw it all fall against some guys that I think could pitch. He got some swings a few times, and he just got elite bat speed and really good bat-to-ball skills. And so, and he's pretty mature for a freshman. I think just hearing him talk about his process and what he's trying to do, you don't get that from a lot of freshmen in today's world. That's the biggest thing with our freshmen. I think our freshmen have done a good job being mature.
What in your background, Mason, has helped you develop some of those skills that Coach is talking about in terms of bat speed, good bat to ball contact? I mean, is there anything you can point on in your training or growing up playing baseball that you feel like has allowed you to have success in those areas?
Yeah, I mean, a big part for me was just training and just a lot of consistent training and being in the weight room. I knew that I wasn't going to be the most tall guy, so I kind of knew that was going to be a disadvantage for me. So I had to find another way to give myself an advantage. So I really got committed to getting a lot stronger and being good at my part of the game.
Coach talked about you coming to prospect camp, being the first high school recruit into this program with the staff. Tell me about that process of picking a school, going to prospect camps, things like that. I mean, what does that entail? What does it look like? What were your first impressions?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy for me though with Washington State because I've always wanted to be a Coug. Both my parents went to Wazoo. Always been a fan. So, when they reached out to me, there wasn't really a lot of doubt in my mind that I wanted to go here.
You played football in high school for a Coug legend, linebacker Peyton Pallure. Just what was it like playing for him? And obviously some Cougar ties there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, he was a great coach. It was his first year coaching us, and he did an amazing job. I didn't play quarterback really that year. I wasn't supposed to. Our quarterback went down. He was really good just helping me out and, just believing in me and doing a really good job at that.
Coach, you guys have a lot of strong multi-sport athletes in this program. I know something that you guys can key on in the recruiting process is just that ultimate athleticism and physicality that you want to bring to the program. Mason seems to fit that bill definitely as a freshman.
Yeah, I love multi-sport athletes. I think other sports teach you other lessons that you can't learn on the baseball field, but then you can apply on the baseball field later in your career. And so there's a big push by travel ball and all these high school sports and club teams to only have young men and young women play one sport. I'm a huge advocate of multi-sport athletes, and that was a big draw that Mason played football. A lot of guys we recruit, and we ask, do you play multiple sports? And they say, yeah. Kyler Northrup was a basketball player. And so, yeah, just love the multi-sport thing. I think it makes you a more well-rounded athlete when you get to this level.
Mason, tell me about integrating into this team and getting ready for this year. What did training coming into this season look like for you, and what are you really keyed on right now?
I mean, it was a lot of hard training coming into the fall. I think it hit me a little harder than I expected, slightly. But once I kind of started to get my feet wet and got used to it, it wasn't too bad. But I definitely can say I improved a lot. Just with fielding, just dialing in my approach with Hut, and just a lot of development.
What was the biggest surprise to you? You talked about some of it maybe being not what you expected in terms of how difficult it was. Well, what caught you by surprise coming in?
I mean, it was just how long the days are. I mean, I wasn't really expecting it to be that insane, the week stuff with only 20-hour weeks, but really that is a lot of hours. I didn't really realize that. But now that I've gone through it once, I think it should be pretty easy from now on.
Coach, I know this weekend you and Mason had a conversation after one of the games. Can you give people an insight into what he had talked to you about. Sounded like it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is actually my favorite thing of the weekend. We give an award at the end of every game to somebody that kind of fights through some adversity, and then the day turned for him. So we go through that, and I told him after the game, I said, hey, it looked like, he had 3 hits, and he was going to probably win that award. And then Ryan Shawnsby comes up, the local kid, and gets the base hit to give us a 9-7 lead. And Ryan ended up getting that. And I told Mason, I said, hey, you were probably going to get it till Ryan got that swing. And he said, I was more excited when Ryan got that base hit than anything I did on the field all day long. So I was pretty pumped. As a coach, that's what you're looking for. And so I thought that response by him was pretty telling. Here is a true freshman getting an opportunity and doing well. And here he is excited for a senior that's in his hometown getting a game go-ahead base hit. He's thinking more about Ryan and more happy for Ryan's success than his own. That's pretty special.
Mason, tell me about this group of guys that allows you to feel that way. I mean, being new to this team, and you guys have this really fun mix of guys who have been here in the past, guys who are new to the program. Just tell me about this group in general from a player's perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great group. Like, it didn't really take me long to fit in. Everybody's really welcoming. There's nobody's really selfish on our team. And I think that, it makes it easier to want to root for other people. And, just when you want to win, it doesn't, that's not important to you how other people do. You want them to do well.
Where are you at in your process right now? What are you working on in these couple days leading up to going to San Marcos and taking on Texas State?
Yeah, I mean, just dialing in my mental game, just kind of almost not flushing what I did, but kind of just moving on to the next thing and just kind of staying present and focusing on that.
Coach, what's impressed you the most about the way the season has started for Mason specifically?
Yeah, I think just hearing him talk about process, he's been a great teammate. When his name and number have gotten called, he's responded in the right way. He's been a great teammate, and he's got some toughness. I mean, I was tough on him in the fall. I think that's part of the deal is you want to see how much toughness he has, and he's tough. I challenged him defensively. He hasn't flinched. He's continued to grow, and so it's a pretty advanced approach for a freshman to be able to play the game the way that he's playing and step in. And really, in today's world, college baseball is such an old sport, more so than it was 10, 15 years ago. And so him and Dane and Jaguar and Falk and all of those freshmen and Trevor Smith, I mean, the maturity that group has together, and I think they've just done a great job assimilating with the older guys and the older guys with them. But yeah, I would just say probably his maturity. And I think what you heard him said is, more than anything, the guys want to win.
Yeah.
And when you want to win, that's what you focus on. You focus on winning and what it takes to win. If you care about just yourself and your results, then that's what you focus on. But when you truly just care about winning, that's how you get left on the field in the first game of a doubleheader, and you don't care, and you win the second game of the doubleheader because all you care about is winning. You're not focused, well, we should have, could. No, we're playing another game. Let's win. So I think he really just echoes that. He just wants to win. He's super competitive. It's probably my favorite thing about him.
Mason, is there a lesson that stands out in your mind that you've learned from an upperclassman on this roster since joining the program?
I mean, I think Max Hartman, he's helped me a lot. We just talk about approaches, and he helps me out in the field. He's kind of been like an older brother to me. He's been a really good just upperclassman that I can look up to. And, I think he's been doing a really good job at that.
What are you most excited for now moving forward into the rest of the season?
I'm just excited for the next game. Yep.
That's the true process right there.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate you joining us this week. Congratulations on some of those great individual performances this last weekend, and of course the wins to cap the weekend as well. And we're looking forward to watching you going forward.
All right. Thank you.
Great conversation with Mason Pirello, and Coach, it really stands out to me. He doesn't sound like a freshman as we go through that conversation, and kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, just really all the guys, on this team, very impressive group that you have.
Yeah, I'm proud of them. I want them to continue to grow as the season goes on. There'll be different challenges that we face that hopefully we continue to handle the right way. But like I've told people from the get-go, it's a very easy group to root for because of how they play and who they are.
Looking forward for you guys now, you have another road series to wrap up non-conference play. Tell me about this weekend coming up. It's obviously got some interesting storylines to it, and the fact that this is going to be a conference opponent for you guys going forward in Texas State.
Yeah, really interesting and challenging weekend. They're good. I believe they're 9-2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people in the Northwest know what a good baseball program they have. Great facilities, have been really good the last 10 to 15 years. So we're going to have our hands full. If we don't play good baseball, we'll be in trouble. If we play good baseball, we'll be in every game, right?
Yeah.
And it's about a pitch or two. So really interested to see how we handle that. And then, like I said, them coming into the Pac-12 next year, I think adds another element for Coug fans to see just a potential future opponent. So,
is it fair to characterize, like from my seat, the last 7 games for you guys? Do you kind of characterize it as good baseball?
Yes, it's been good baseball. It hasn't always been clean baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've competed since the Friday loss to Cal Poly. I've been really happy with our baseball. I would say all of it has been good competitiveness. It's been good baseball. I thought Sunday wasn't the cleanest baseball.
Fair.
But we did compete. But I did think that 6-game stretch, it was really clean, good baseball. Sunday just wasn't clean, but we had to find a way, and it wasn't clean on either side, right? But yeah, I would say there was a 6-game stretch in there where it was relatively clean baseball. I was pretty pleased with it.
How do you evaluate your team going into this weekend? I mean, where do you want to see them take some steps forward in this series against Texas State?
Yeah, offensively, want to continue to fight and be on time to the fastball, put together quality at-bats. Defensively, we need to continue to make some plays. We had some opportunities to make some plays in there in an inning or two stretch that we didn't. We just need to clean up and make some smarter decisions defensively on some things. And then on the mound, just get more consistent on the strike throwing. I mean, at times it's been really good, and at times it's gotten away for just an inning or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so just really stacking those pitches, stacking those innings. And playing, complete good baseball for 9 innings on Thursday. And then obviously when Thursday's over, turn the page to Friday.
Strike throwing can be a little elusive across college baseball as a whole. I'm interested from your perspective as a pitching guy. I mean, is it mental? Is it physical? What's the biggest hurdle to overcome for guys coming into college throwing on the mound?
Yeah, it's a great question. Some of it is physical. Guys that haven't thrown a lot of strikes in their career typically don't start throwing strikes right away. A lot of it is mental, where you'll see a guy cruising. It's not for a lack of effort. Guys are trying to throw strikes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that they're not aware of it. But if I tell you, Trevor, hey, do not think about a pink elephant, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about a pink, right?
Yeah.
So if you say, hey, throw a strike, now they're trying to throw a strike. A strike is a result. And really, we want them to compete pitch to pitch, meaning your best effort on this pitch. And if you miss a zone, that's okay. And then get present to the next pitch. So a lot of it is the mental part, and then sometimes they're over trying, right? They're trying so hard to throw a strike. I got to throw a strike. You don't got to do anything. You get to. You don't have to throw a strike. You get to throw a strike. And so I'm just trying to keep guys in the right frame of mind. And it's not just us. It's just across baseball. And I think with the pursuit of velocity over the last 5 years, sometimes a lot of kids come up and they – what's important to you? Is it throwing strikes? Is it throwing hard? Well, if you would ask me, well, what do you want? Well, I would like both. I'd like you to throw strikes and throw hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to challenge the strike zone, and at this level, counts getting flipped are so important. That 1-1 pitch, that's a 2-1 pitch, or then goes to 1-2. And if you hear me bark out of the dugout on the 1-1 pitch, it's because it's a critically important pitch because it flips counts. And so, yeah, it's a combination of both, but most of the time it's more mental than anything.
Do you golf?
I do. I try. I'm not very good, but yeah.
me either. But is it a little bit like when I think about pitching, is it a little bit like a golf swing where like there's all these pieces that you've got to be focused on individual to the swing without thinking about hey, I need to just park this 8 feet from the pin.
Yeah, you train mechanically all the time, but then in the moment you don't want to think about mechanics at all, which is just it's a crazy concept, right? So when you're doing your dry mechanics, when you're doing flat grounds, all of those times that you're working on your craft, just like your golf swing when you're going to the range. But in the moment, you want to free yourself up, trust your training, and just be an athlete. So I do think it's similar.
All right, Cougs coming up this weekend, Thursday through Sunday against Texas State. Coach, we're excited to follow you guys in the final non-conference week of the season, and then San Diego State conference play right around the corner. Thanks for the time as always, and looking forward to seeing this going forward.
Appreciate it. Go Cougs.